Discovery, go at throttle up. Oh, hello. Hello. How's everybody? Yes, good, no, maybe. Potato. Housekeeping? Housekeeping, you want towel? No towel. Need sleepy. Housekeeping, you want me for pillow? Please go away. Let me sleep for the love of God. Hi, chat. How are you? Yeah? Yeah? Good? Bad? Maybe? Good? Bad? Ugly? Okay, no need to yell. Well, I can't stop yelling, because it's how I talk. You ain't never seen my movies? Deep Blue Sea? That was a good one. I got eaten by a shark. A shark ate me. What kind of hotel is this? Oh, it's you, chat. Good morning, sunshine. Anyway. Diet Coke! Diet Coke! Which one of you is a key grip? You. Yes, you. I want you to hit that chatter in the face really freaking hard. Richard, were you watching Spanktravision? Fat guy in a little coat. Fat guy in a little coat. Ew, I'd rather drink Pepsi. Are you okay? No. You guys want to hear a getting old story? And I fully acknowledge that I deserve to be laughed at for this. My sleep schedule is so screwed up that what sleep I do get is like super deep sleep. I slept with my arm. I can't do that. I literally can't do it with my right arm. I slept with my arm like this or something and literally, I don't know if I dislocated it in my sleep, but it certainly feels like I dislocated my arm in my sleep. Didn't wake up. I woke up this morning and I can't. Yep, that hurts. Yep. All right. Old moment. Old moment. It's pretty bad. Like, yep. Boomer moment, dude. It's not good. It's not muscles either. It's like the socket, the bone. It's in the bone. Don't do that. Yeah. Okay. Oh. Yeah. Yeah, that hurts. It hurts. It hurts a lot. Anyway, I feel there. I woke up a few days ago. The right side was just randomly tensed up. Won't relax for like half the day. Bro, this sucks. This sucks. This sucks so much, dude. It's not fun at all. I'm not having fun. Yeah, clear it up. Yeah, dude. It feels, my shoulder feels like it was popped out and then I popped it back in. It's like that discomfort that you get if you dislocate something and then you pop it back in. You know what I'm talking about? It hurts, man. Did you fall asleep on the couch again? No, I haven't been getting much sleep. I don't, like, you'd think that going to Amsterdam and going back, you know, I would be getting up earlier. And oh gosh, I wake up so dang early. But see, the problem is my shifts for the stream go really, really long. I end up pretty much trying to sleep right at 9 a.m. in Europe. And I end up sleeping for like an hour and then waking up and then staying up, like just staring at the ceiling and then going back to sleep. Like, yeah, it's bad. It's bad. It's bad. We got to reset it. Yep. This isn't good. You're not old because then I'm old. Yeah, okay, no, yeah. Yeah, Indy, it sucks. Don't do this to me. I'm about your age this month. Yeah, this dude sucks. Wait until you hit 40. No, yeah, we gotta do something. I gotta do something about this. We gotta do something about this. Anyway, here we go. With sound though. Psst, 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 psst. Whoa, bro, wait a minute. You hear that? Ladder moment. Let's see, what else we got from this? This looks like the space station from the screenshot that they posted the other day. I'm seeing a Gigantor solar panel that's bigger than the Gigantor solar panel. Very nice. Very nice. Regular clampetron port, monoprop tanks, near-TS trusses. Regular solar panels, that's definitely a 375 tank over there. I think. Those hab modules are pretty sick. 375 hab module, or a control module from what I can tell. The new hab modules are... That's just the same, that's the same Communicatron dish. Wait. Yo, that's cool. What if the blue modules are science labs? It's possible. They look to be a slightly bigger diameter than that one, but yeah. Oh, good eye. Good eye, Lewis. Yeah, very nice. Very nice. Cool. Take a look at that pod. Let me see. Nice. Nice. Interesting, Moto. That's cool. I haven't seen it. Fellas, I got another interesting question from this. How many parts do you think this station is? How many parts do you think? Let's see. So, let's say 1, 2, 3, 4. That has 4 times docking ports. 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's see. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. 69 parts? Yeah. Yeah, and then there's more trusses in there. 22, 23, 24, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46. There's the 6-axis node, so I don't know how many parts that is. I'm not familiar with this piece. Let's just count what we can see. 47, 48, 49, 50. There's definitely docking ports there, so 51, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57. Yeah, it's probably about 100 parts. Yeah, I'd say 100, 150, maybe. Yeah, somewhere in there, I think that's right. Y'all are assuming parts are the same as KSP1. Yes, I am, drummer. What are you going to do about it? What if there's built-in part welding? What if there is? What if there is? You've gone to plaid. Oh, very nice. The planets do look like they need some improvement. Not very pretty. The planet? Yeah, I guess I can see what you're saying. Looks nice to me. See my last when able. I'm not able to, sorry. You can design turbo pumps in this game. Going to be a must play. Miko Rocket Simulator. Weeb detected. Weeb detected. Damn, weebs are everywhere. They're everywhere. Look at this. Look at this. Weeb everywhere. No, this game looks sick, by the way. Wow, that's a hell of a hierarchy. All right. Nice hierarchy build. Cool. I see what they're doing. I see how they made that. That's pretty sweet. Oh, look. Yeah. Nice. Anybody know what that is? It's a fluid impeller. Yep, that's right. That's exactly what it is. Some triangles. Cool. Weeb. Neat. Okay. Time for burble. Burble. Is that a Supra? Word the Bobs is saying, the only thing KSP can offer IMO is better graphics and physics. Most everything else can be done in KSP1 with mods. You think so? I mean, Bob, I don't mean to flex. I don't mean to flex or anything, but have you played KSP 2? Like, I'm not trying to be a jerk. Have you played it? I mean, I don't know, dude. Like, you might be right, but you might be wrong. Just saying. Dude, like, I'm not, like, just saying. Like, I don't mean to pull the flex card, man, but you kind of forced my hand on this. He's probably right for many things, but extra solar panels, probably not. I don't know, dude. Ah, Max, I'm like you, dude. I don't like doing that. I don't like putting my credentials in people's face. I was taught that that's not how you do. You know what I'm saying? And I think we're the same in that regard. I don't do that. I haven't played it yet. Everything coming so far has inspired in anything bigger. That's fair. I mean, yeah, I understand that. Just interesting, dude. Like, I mean, dude, I can't tell you what I played, but I've played it, bro. I've played it. Might be right, but you might be wrong, too. But I guess I can't fault you if you're basing it off everything that you've seen thus far, so. But Bob, I know good and well, if somebody dangles that 1,000-part ship with 30, 60 frames a second in front of you, you're gonna be like, You know what I mean? Dude, I'll take fair. right. And you know what, man? I'm the same way. I love KSP 1. I cut my teeth on this game, dude. I love it, but if they go dangle like 1,000-part ships in front of me, I'm gonna be like, what? They optimize that much? I don't know. I don't know, man. You say with your 1070. Yeah, it's alright. It's alright, serious. I got a 3080 Ti in the mail today, so it's all good. I don't know. Yeah, I got a 3080 Ti in the mail today. It's all good. Yeah, is that a good card? Why did you take a shuttle to the moon? I wanted to test how a small drive performs in a medium-sized ship. It performs okay, and if this project doesn't work out, then we'll just put the Kraken drive in the shuttle, and I'll land the shuttle on every single planet. KSP is CPU bound, not GPU. Physics simulation doesn't even exist on the GPU. Man, you guys are speaking with such certainty. Man, that's interesting. That's just such certainty here. So will Bruce Willis and Ben Affleck it? Yep. Alright, so what were we up to? We were testing the singular drive. I was talking about current KSP. Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, that's fair. That's totally fair. Alright, let's get into it. So, I need fuel cells. Yeah, Ryan. Anyways, Dorito! We gotta put the lights on. So what we're going to do is get the ship. We're going to time warp the Endurance out into... what did dog do? Out into heliocentric space. And we're going to try to fly it. Try to engage one of the drives. I have a feeling that trying to engage all 3 drives is causing some pretty bad problems. There is a very slight possibility that we will overload the reactor and blow this thing to smithereens. We had a couple of catastrophic ruds in space the other day, which is pretty cool. Damn, Bree. Damn. Bree laying down the law. Yeah, so... I want some fuel cells on board to see if the fuel cells can keep up with the drive. Keep up with the drive, though. Let's try 4. 4 should be good. Put them in the started state. What'd the brain do? Oh, well, we can't have that. That's fine. You know what? We got enough batteries on this thing. Whoa, whoa, whoa. I was told my intelligence was a good size. Is this drive been more reliable than the radial design? Yes. Hippic, it can move this. Look at the takeoff. Yeah, it's more reliable. Yeah. No, these gems are a vibe. Are your weeb senses tingling, Sneaky? It's like those things from Jurassic Park. It's Gran Turismo music, yeah. Can it take off without the boosters yet? Haven't tested it. Are you gonna shut down a drive or 2? Yeah, I'm going to shut the 2 forward drive off. Gran Turismo is a weeb game? Nah, not really. You were on the KSP subreddit last night? Oh, well, there's your first mistake, Bree. What the dog doing? And today on the 10... Well, serious, why don't you do me a favor and update us if you're so hip and in the groove? I flew over your house, man. I've seen where you live. Don't forget that. Weirdo. Huh. Serious, I'm starting to think that you're the Diesel, mate. You're the Diesel. If you mention Thomas the Tank Engine one more time, I will shoot you in your freaking face. You're the Diesel. You're the Diesel. I gotta kill you. I love Bullet Train. It's a great... Dude, I watched it again last night, Sneaky. I had it on while I was in the shop. Let it go, bro. Do not call me, bro! It's pretty good, yeah, it's pretty funny, dude. That's my favorite part, Sneaky. Do not call me, bro! Okay. And Lemon. God rest his soul. Screw you, you Diesel! I think Bullet Train is on Netflix. Yeah, watch it. It's pretty damn funny, dude. And, like, don't get me wrong, it's okay. It's not the funniest movie I've seen, but in a sea of just absolutely awful movies, Bullet Train does stand out. It's pretty damn good. I don't get why people are so salty about a game that's releasing in early access, not having X, Y, or Z features. Kilo, my biggest thing that I've heard with criticism is the $50 price point. That's the biggest thing. People don't want to pay that much money for an early access game. Now, personal opinion, I think that's ludicrous. For what you're getting. Kerbal looks freaking amazing, and yep, but I might be a little bit biased in that regard, just a little bit. Honestly, I'm one leg in that boat too, from a different perspective. I mean, Max, I understand the skepticism with hype games. Believe me. Cyberpunk's still fresh in my thoughts. Sorry, I didn't mean to bring that up, but you know what I mean, right? Like, with that still being fresh in my mind, and Fallout 76, Mass Effect 3, Mass Effect Andromeda, trust me. I know. I get it. I get why people are like, phew. But you know good and well that Kerbal could be absolutely fantastic. Kerbal 2 could be absolutely amazing and better than KSP 1 in every single way, and people will still go crap post about it on KSP subreddit and stuff. Because people don't want to be, they don't want to be correct, they want to be right. You know what I mean? I can see it coming from a mile away, because not because I have any particular insight, because that happens with every game. It happens with every game. People want to be mad. Yep. With that being said, fellas, dude, you can call me biased. That's fine, and you'd be absolutely right. I'm gonna ride the frick out of this hype train. This game looks amazing. I'm gonna play the trash out of this. I'm gonna play the trash out of it. And guess what? We'll probably break it. I told Nate that. I'm like, dude, I'm probably gonna break it. I'm sorry. If I break it, that's my bad. And he's like, all right. I'm like, it's a sandbox game. We'll find ways to break it. I'm gonna watch the trash out of you playing the trash out of it. Alright, that's fair. I'm going to... But see, here's the thing, dudes. My one thing, and this is what I keep talking about. Dude. These devs, like, dude, I have a direct line. Like, not a direct line. Dude, I can get a hold of Nate if I need to. I can get a hold of anybody on the dev team if I see a problem. Which is cool. That content, the whole content creator thing, right? The ESA insider thing that they did, that was a huge networking opportunity. So I'm not going to sit here and say, like, you know, all the content creators don't have an avenue with the devs, because we absolutely do. So if you see something, tell me about it. When Kerbal 2 comes out, you see something you don't like, tell me. Dude, like, I can call Nate, like, right now if I really wanted to. I'm not going to. I'm not going to bother him like that, dude. He is like, I need to fix. I need to get everything good. Like, it's crunch time, you know, like. So, like, just keep that in mind, dudes. The devs are open. They listen. They absolutely listen. They're prowling the forums. They're prowling the Discord. They absolutely are. You can go in the Discord and see that they're liking people's posts and stuff. They're there. They're watching. I know they're doing it. So, trust me, we have an avenue with them. So even if Kerbal 2 has something that you don't like, don't be a cynical piece of trash about it. Just tell somebody about it. Because they listen. They care. They absolutely do. Yeah. I wish I could tell you more with this, but, you know, trust me, dude. Source, trust me, bro. I understand that, Laws, for sure. Yeah, the fact that they're so open about everything, guys, speaks volumes. Because, like, if they were doing if they were doing like, okay, so like how Bethesda shut up after Fallout 76 came out, they were kind of open about like what they were fixing, but they, you know that like when a game dev company pretends everything's normal and it ain't normal because the game's like super broken. You know what I'm talking about? Like that's the time to be pissed off, right? No joke. That's the time to be mad. Cynical piece of trash. How dare you call me out like that? If it dies, it dies. Yeah, Gully, you're talking about something different. Gotcha. EJ, not to keep that topic going too much, but not only would it be helpful for people to mention, but to also mention how whatever they are seeing can be better or fixed. Does the dev team no good to hear a problem without a solution? Bingo, Gene. And dude, they're a fly on the wall. Trust me on this one. That's what I can talk about. They will listen to you if you give them if you're not a dick about it, if you give good feedback. So like if you find a bug, all right, here, let me teach you guys about troubleshooting a video game. You know how I always figure out what's wrong, like the Kraken arm, right? With the station a couple of weeks ago. The Kraken arm had a problem and it had anomalous behavior that I'd never seen before. What did I do? I tried to replicate that in engineering mode. Same craft file, completely different save, just to make sure that isolates the save, right? Now, time warping around, time warping through fizz warp, time warping through render range, you know, we were able to isolate that failure mode, right? And we duplicated it in the engineering mode save. That's how you troubleshoot. Believe it or not, it's the same way for aerospace engineering. You're trying to, like, Japan, JAXA and Mitsubishi have to figure out what's going on with the H3 because the engine snuffed out at T-3 seconds the other day. Now they got to figure out what's going on. You got to troubleshoot. Give them a bug report, dude. Give them something to work with. Don't just say, oh, landing gear is broken. You know, like, the wings don't work. What does that mean? Show them. Is it your craft file? Is the craft file the problem? Is it the game? What's going on? Dude, were you able to replicate this with another craft file? That's why in engineering mode with the arm, I put it on a different craft file. Put the arm on a different craft file just to make sure that the station wasn't the problem. So we isolated the save, we isolated the craft file. Those two rule out hierarchy and potentially anomalous garbage collection in the save. And we were able to replicate the problem with the arm. And we figured out that it's a vessel running out of power. Right? We were able to isolate it, and I could write a bug report about how that works now because we were able to duplicate our findings. Be scientific about it. They'll listen. Trust me on this. Well, first you rage quit. Yeah, help it. Well, yeah, of course. Well, hey. But I came back the next day and figured out the problem, right? Like, give them context. Yep. Write bug reports, dudes. Trust me. Write bug reports. Post it on the forums. Post it in Discord. Hey, guys, I think I encountered a potential glitch with, you know, like the cockpit rolling over uncontrollably, you know. And I tested it with multiple craft files. Like, try stuff like that. They'll listen. They will. How do you do the rage quit bit in real life? What? Yeah, Ryan, there you go. $50, MTK. What do you mean? How do I handle getting pissed off? Dude, here's the thing. Self-realization and self-introspection is super important. You know, it's important to take a good look in the mirror and be like, am I doing this right? With that being said, in regards to what we're talking about, I don't lose very well. I'm not a very good loser. I'm very competitive. I don't like losing. It makes me mad. You've seen it on stream. Tarkov, PUBG, Counter-Strike. I don't lose with grace. I know this. You know, so how do I handle rage quitting? Well, not very good initially, but here's the thing. Chalk it up to being a passionate Italian. You know what I mean? I get mad about it, but you know, I'm quick to come to my senses, and then I fix the problem. You know, I wish I could just, you know, bypass that whole whining about it like a 5-year-old part, and I'm working on it. I'm working on getting better. But yeah, you can't change who you are. You know what I mean? Like, that personality ain't going nowhere. Oh, so you're Vegas C. Yeah. To be fair, I don't know any FPS gamer current or previous who doesn't get mad at stuff when they lose. Yeah. How are you doing today? I dislocated my arm in my sleep, Gujar, and now it really hurts. Don't get old. Yeah, Primo, exactly. It's bad. I don't lose with grace. I'm a very sore loser. It's not good. It's not good. But how did you do that? My sleep schedule is so screwed up, Cornbread. The sleep that I do get, I was out cold. It's probably good that Tarkov didn't really hook you. Grav, I'm not going to lie to you. I can play... Dude, if I wasn't a streamer right now, all I would be playing is probably Tarkov or KSP. Honestly, if I wasn't streaming... Yeah, I would be playing a lot of Tarkov. I'd play a lot of Hearts of Iron. Tarkov is fun, dude. I enjoy it. The games that I get the most pissed off at are the games that I enjoy the most, and it's some kind of screwed up thing. I don't know why I'm like that. I can literally keep my cool at everything else. It's just games. Certain games know how to push my buttons, and it pisses me off. But, like, dude, I've worked in customer service. I've even done IT. I did an internship doing IT at a software company in high school. I've had people yell in my face. I've had people throw food at me. None of that stuff bothers me. That stuff makes me laugh, believe it or not. I'm like, wow, you're really mad over a pizza. Holy crap. Wow, that's awesome. It's just in games, though. Oh, man. I don't know what it does. It pushes my buttons, dude. Racing. Oh, dude. It's so bad. Like, it's so bad that I get so pissed off that I got to take myself down a peg or two. Like, that's why I keep constantly saying that I suck at what I do. Because if I don't, I'll think I'm good at it when I'm really not good at it. And then I'll get pissed off when I don't do good. Like, oh, it's so stupid freaking brain, man. Of course you had that. You caught a Yankees game at Fenway. Yeah. Then the realization came. Yeah, Max, I'm past the realization point, dude. I just got to figure out a way to not get pissed off. But, dude, it's so tough, man. It's so tough keeping your rage in check. You know what I'm saying? It's tough, man. It's hard to do. Lompoke has high cloud cover. I hope I can see the launch. The problem with that is eventually you convince yourself that you aren't and you won't be good at it. Hellfish, that started to happen, and that's why I was like, dude, I gotta mission mode it. I gotta mission mode it. Like, yeah. My brain, this time it's going to be different, right? And then you know what the most screwed up part about it? Like, if I win a game in Tarkov and I do everything right, I'm like, okay, good, sweet. All right, let's just do that every time. Like, I don't feel better. I'm like, yeah, I won, woo! You know, it's like, you don't feel better. You're just like, okay, cool. Like, I don't feel better than at the point that when I started. I'm like, cool, I got all these guns now, but I could lose them. So I won't use those. Let me get another crappy gun. We'll go from there. And then I die, and then I get annoyed. Like, oh. You can do everything right and still lose. That's right. Yeah, man. So, yeah, self-introspection there, dude. Like, you don't need to tell yourself that you suck. Doesn't chat do that enough? Yeah, but Element, then I go, man, the chat, screw them. Like, it doesn't click. You know what I'm saying? Like, It's so screwed up, dude. My brain's a freaking mess. It's a mess up there, dude. I know what you mean. Racing does that to me. Went out for a qualifying run, made a mistake, got back to the pits, and was so pissed off I slammed the steering wheel against the dash and broke some switches. Right? Can we just... Like, how do I handle rage quit, Owens? I let myself... Like, the best solution that I've been able to come up with is let yourself get pissed off about it for a second. Open the taps just a little bit, because if you try to keep the taps closed, you're going to go insane. Open the taps just a little bit, get pissed off about it for like 15, 20 minutes, maybe an hour if it really bothers you. Close the taps, figure out how to fix the problem. That's what works for me. Like, maybe I'll go lift weights or something. I don't know. Or I already convinced myself that I suck and it's never going to get better. Yeah, don't overpressurize the tanks. Falcon at 212. Got it. Punching bag helps. Yeah. Wait, brains come in a non-mess version? Where do I get one of those? Yeah, silly. I'm asking myself that question all the time. The one equalizer to this whole thing is like engineering. Engineering is like silly. Engineering is so... It needs to be so precise, and it needs to make perfect logical sense. It's like candy for my freaking brain. I don't know why. It makes sense. I don't know why. Like, it's just everything is nice and orderly, and it has to be nice and clean, and the numbers have to work. It makes perfect logical sense. Dude, I'm telling you, that's candy for your brain. Like, I don't know what that's about, but... Hi, Key. That's how I do it if something happens. Tell myself I have X amount of time to be emotional about it. Yeah, Kilo, you gotta have an outlet. You gotta have a relief valve. If you don't have a check valve on that, you will literally go bananas. Did they find out what happened to the launch? No, they're still reviewing Gujar. We haven't figured it out. So, yeah. Owens, how do I deal with it? The best solution that I've been able to come up with is be mad about it. Don't go be mad about it by yourself. Don't be around people that you appreciate, because if you are, you're going to say something you don't mean. And you could irreparably screw up a relationship with somebody. So go somewhere else. Go to your quiet place and don't be quiet. But letting it stew up there, not good. That doesn't work for me. That makes me more mad. Like, yeah. See what I mean? Like, that's the best way. You gotta have a relief valve. Like, go get a punching bag or something. I find that doing physical labor absolutely fixes that problem. Not 100% sure why. Pathfinder, morning. Did you see that SpaceX did a whoopsie with the FAA? Yeah, $175,000 fine for SpaceX from the FAA. They didn't, there was some kind of clerical error or something, and they didn't file a flight plan for a Starlink and launched it anyway. For a Starlink last year. My only rule is don't drink when I'm mad or sad. You don't need a downer when you're already emotional, human. Whoops. Alright. Gene, there's no way they didn't forget to do it. It's probably somebody just didn't send the final report or something. Like, there's no way SpaceX was just like, oh, we forgot to file the flight plan. Derp. They probably had the flight plan ready to go and somebody forgot to hit send on an email or something. Or somebody didn't, disable cookies or something and they sent it and they didn't cache it right. Like, it's probably something stupid like that if I had to guess. I mean, because think about it. And it was a Starlink launch from last year, from August of last year. So, clearly this is not a problem, and it's not a recurring thing either. So, the FAA probably gave them a fine because they have to. Because the rules are the rules, and if you don't enforce the rules, then why do the rules exist at all? So, I'll bet you it's something like that. What happened to the shuttle and the space station? Cody, I finished that project. I finished the shuttle and the station, dude. Yeah. And I wanted to keep going with the shuttle infrastructure, but the problem is that I literally don't have enough time. The shuttle infrastructure would have gotten me a moon base by the time KSP comes out. So I just pulled out all the stops and we built this instead. They forgot the cover sheet. Yep, did you get that memo? Oh, it's super slow? I can fix that. Want me to fix that? Headphone users. Headphone users. Headphone users. 5 seconds. Okay, that wasn't too bad. There it goes. I want to go fast! .3 on the accelerometer. Everything's looking good. We can stick with endurance need for now, but I need to figure out. Uh-oh. Yep, that's what I thought that was going to do. Duck. Huh. Val? Hey, they're alive. Or Jeb and Bill. There we go. That probably had something to do with it. I think we zigged when we should have zagged. No, I pushed it too hard. Yeah. Jeb and Bob are having fun. Alright, let's fly this. Let's fly this cube. There we go. Alright, there we go. Bring it up. Bring it up, pal. That's a lot of ship. That seems to be the ideal angle right here. Let's see if we can coast. Oh, that's one hell of a subassembly. What piece is that? Oh. The ship seems to have unzipped itself. There's no curved part of this ship, by the way. That part seems to have exploded so hard that it curved. There we go. Deploy the chute without letting go. Too late. Ship blowing up above KSP, as is tradition. Bob? Since you're done with the shuttle, what is this rocket for? Good question. Cody, this is for going everywhere. I want to go everywhere with the, I want to go everywhere with the ship. But yeah, guys, I'm fairly confident I pushed that a little too hard. Look, man, with enough thrust, you can make anything fly, but there's only so much structure a thing can take. I think we found the load limits for the ship in atmosphere. Because, yeah, the accelerometer, the highest G-force read was 23 Gs, which means something... We pushed too hard. We hit max Q. In fact, if somebody wants to go and clip that, I'm wondering what the dynamic pressure was at RUD. I saw it coming. I saw it coming. I saw the ship start to do this. The ship started to turn, and I'm like, that's not norm. Oh, frick. Also, how do you have 2 launch pads? Kerbal Konstructs. It's a mod that allows you to place down more pads. I had that, Cody, for if I wanted to build more launch pads in mission mode, we could. Uh-oh, where's Jeb? Jeb? There we go. Jeb, come on back now. Pathfinder, 94,384. There's your problem. We literally hit max Q with the endurance. It couldn't take it. It couldn't take it. The ship rutted because we hit max Q. Or we went past the maximum exceeded value for the ship. Pathfinder, was it really 94 pascals? That's ridiculous. We almost hit one... Oh, no, that's 93,000 pascals. Dude, we hit 90... Dude, we almost hit 1 atmosphere on the front of the ship. Oh, that's... Yeah, no wonder. Can confirm, Cater? Oh, my goodness. I'm amazed these guys are even in one piece. You okay, pal? He's fine. They're alright. Jeez. That was an insane RUD, though. Did you see that? Yeah. So, fellas, that's something that real rockets have to take into account, what you just saw there. Because it's not like in Kerbal when you have one solid piece like this. I mean, what is a fuel tank like this but made out of a bunch of smaller plates of aluminum, right? And they are welded together, and that's nice, but there's only so much you can do. You can't push too hard against the atmosphere or else the pressure will become too high and it will literally rip it apart. Hey, someone. What have you missed? This is the Endurance. It's my Grand Touring Kraken-driven ship. So what you're saying is if we made a whole ship out of welds... I mean, Wookie, you say that... You say that like someone isn't doing it already. Relativity's tankage, dude, is made exactly like that, believe it or not. Their 3D printer is just a bead welder that's attached to a 3D printer. Serious. It's just a flex welder. Well, I wouldn't say flex welder, it's probably a MIG. But see those tanks? Those tanks are literally beads of weld. That's just... Yeah, but they won't IPO for you. Yeah. I think Kerbals are made of the stuff they inject into high G-forces in the Expanse. That makes sense. So smaller ship then? Not necessarily, Nicholas. That was more operator error. I've never hit 94 pascals. Or 94 kPa. Yeah, that was 94 kilopascals. We had 1 bar pressure built up on the front of the ship. No, I'm like amazed it even made it that far. Yeah. The rockets are, I'll go back to that. Relativity is making it out of welds, but The point is like this is a bunch of certain pieces. This is a bunch of small pieces together, and once the air pushes too much on it, it'll introduce a compression load. It'll try to accordion the ship, and it did accordion the ship, which is probably why I did see a chain of pieces. And if I looked at that subassembly right, it was right here. And these pieces were bent into a curve like this. So if that piece right there, if this line of crew tanks was bent down into a curve like that, that implies that the structural failure was somewhere around here. And at this point in the hierarchy is probably the point that's under the most amount of load because there's 3 Kraken drives pushing against it. Well, the Kraken drives are technically connected to here. If I had a structural failure right here because the Kraken drives are pushing too hard against the ship, well, that's kind of good news and kind of bad news. The bad news is that this ship has structural limits. Despite my best efforts, this ship still is susceptible to exploding itself. And the hierarchy in this thing is about as strong as I can freaking make it. Actually, we could go stronger with this if we take a bit of struts right here on the fuel tanks. But I don't think the fuel tanks were the point of structural failure. I'm pretty sure it was the fairing. And the fairing is not really strutted to anything. It's only on a node attach right there. But anyway, I digress. That's the bad news. The bad news is that the ship has structural limits. The good news of this is that, well, the explosion definitely points to the drives. So that means the drives can push too hard. Now, that problem that we're having in heliocentric space could be the same problem. It's actually very interesting that happened. Now, I'm just curious here. I'm going to look at the ship in straight hierarchy view. So if we go to my buddy Theix's website in the hierarchy viewer, and we choose the file, and we go down to Endurance R1.
Discovery,
this is
go at throttle up.
This is the hierarchy view of the ship. It's basically all the parts of the ship, and it shows how they're connected to each other. Looks good, right? Hey, Frank Cam.
Discovery, go at throttle up.
So that's the fairing right there. Okay, so what I'm looking for here... What else is that fairing connected to? Is that fairing strutted to anything? It's not. It just has a bunch of parts that are radially attached to it. Right? What are these parts up here? Flag. Kraken bearing. Some wings. There's a strut. Nope. Wings. Kraken bearing. Flag. What about down here? Fellas, I'm no doctor of Kerbology, but I'm pretty sure that fairing is literally, hierarchically, it's only connected to 2 things. The mainline hierarchy has that fairing connecting to that fairing in the front, and then another fairing behind it. It's literally not connected to anything else. I'm going to go ahead and say, based off of what I just saw with the ship pushing against that, and that Mark II crew cabin bending, I'm going to go ahead and say that we are breaking that connection right there. This one. The drives push so hard that they break that connection right there, and then this connection right here. The connection between that fairing plate and that fairing plate. If that connection breaks, right? If that connection snaps right there, and it snaps right there, well, if you go down here and take a look at how these Mark II fuselages are tied in, The struts, the mainline struts for them are tied in behind, back here. See the strut connector? So, let's go look at this. Did you stay at a Motel 6 last night? Yes. So see, right here, this piece has struts that connect to the catwalks, and it has struts that connect to the fairing that's behind the main fairing, the main thrust plate, I'll say. This piece right here. But there's nothing that's absolutely strutted to that piece. This fairing is literally free-floating. It has something attached to the front and something attached to the back structurally, and that's it. We should beef up this area structurally. And, fellas, that might be the problem with us in heliocentric space. These drives end up pushing so hard, so fast, that it can break that connection right there. In fact, I think that's what happens. Because a structural connection failure like that doesn't necessarily show up on F3. So, let's think about this. So if that connection breaks while the ship is under acceleration, what happens? The Kraken drives go forward. They punch that fairing plate. That fairing plate explodes because they got hit by a drive going like 100,000 meters a second because they suddenly detached, right? Because this piece right here structurally is tied in to the fairing plate right there. See those two struts? Those connections fail. And then these struts back here, the ones over there that go up like that, those connections fail. And then when the drive piece explodes, it blows the landing legs all up in different directions, which explains why this piece was curved. That explains that. It explains why it's where the explosion originated from. Because if we blow up the back, there's nothing tying these things together, and they just do this. That branch just becomes loose. That branch of the hierarchy. This whole piece just starts free-floating, which is why it was bent. So, guys, that might be the issue. That might be the issue. There's nothing that holds this whole thing together except for the mainline connection. Please stop talking about interesting stuff. I want to go watch the KSP2 trailer, but I don't want to miss this because it's super interesting. Watch the KSP2 trailer, someone. I'll see you in a couple minutes. Did we just NTSB report KSP? Yeah. Pretty much. The parts, whatever you find after a catastrophic failure is the evidence. And the evidence, physics, so like, Oridon, the interesting thing is that physics doesn't change. Physics don't change. The laws of physics don't, those are inalienable. Those don't change. So, the parts are always going to tell a story. So, I can give you a terrible example, but it's an example nonetheless. And once again, I'm not trying to, say that astronauts died in vain here. But, so, I actually learned something the other day when Scott Manley posted his video about STS-107. And if you haven't seen Scott's video about STS-107, it's super freaking interesting. If you're interested in if you want to learn about engineering ethics and how these catastrophic failures happen with any systems engineering, it's super interesting stuff. But Oridon, they were picking, so after Columbia, RIP Columbia 7, right? After that happened, they, it strewed parts everywhere. They found all the parts. It's gruesome. Like, gruesome. But they found tiles from Columbia, from the left wing, and the tiles actually had bits of aluminum, melted aluminum baked into the tile. Like somebody took molten aluminum and poured it over the tile, right? On the back side of the tile. The tiles on the space shuttle are attached to an aluminum frame, right? Because the shuttle's made out of aluminum, right? It's aircraft grade aluminum, and on the outer edges of it you have tiles that are glued to the aluminum. So if you find melted aluminum on the back side of the tile, what does that tell you? It tells you that entry heating got inside of the wing, right? It always tells a story. Everything tells a story. You can figure out anything from stuff like that because the laws of physics don't change. You can use the laws of physics as a concrete datum to figure out what happened. And The thing is that Kerbal's physics do... I get it. There's float point in Kerbal, all right? It's not... There's, you know, float in KSP, so you can get float point errors. Physics doesn't necessarily do the same thing every time. However, I noticed that Kerbal only really encounters a lot of float point errors and anomalous behavior, and behavior that you weren't expecting when you quick save and when you quick load. If you put something out on the map and you leave it there, it'll work the same way every time. And, you know, I know people are going to ask me, well, how do you know that? The launch pads are a good example of that. The launch pads are a great example. How many times did we launch the Freedom Rocket and it worked the exact same way every time? Because I did the exact same thing every time, even with a reused pad. Kerbal's physics simulation is not as bad as people think. Now, don't get me wrong. It's basic practical physics. When you go up and you get into like full Newtonian orbital mechanics, right? Up in space, it doesn't work exactly right. There's no precession. There's no orbital perturbations, etc., etc. But at its heart, Kerbal is a very, very good physics simulator. You can use it. You can use it to figure out, well, not figure out physics, but you could. It's. What I'm trying to say is that it is good enough to be able to do an accident report. I guarantee you, if I do the exact same thing this time, the exact same thing will happen. If we go to launch this again, the exact same thing will happen. If I try to turn it at 94 kilopascals pressure, in fact, the ship, I watched the rates. The rates started to go positive or negative on pitch, so it started to pitch over. And the reason why it started to pitch over is because of aerodynamics. Aerodynamics forced the ship sideways, and now we have compression load being pushed on the ship sideways. And that definitely broke that connection back there. I teared up a bit. How was playing it? I've played KSP 2. I can't really say what I did. Sorry, man. Yeah, they don't. Private Division wants to keep the hype train going, and that's fine. That's fine. That's fine. I totally get it. I can't say what I did. What didn't you do? I don't know. I don't recall these events at this time. I plead the fifth. So, fellas, what I'm getting at here is, like, Kerbal is actually it's a high enough fidelity simulation that you can replicate stuff. Unity does a good enough physics simulation that you can figure out a fault tree and you can go from there. And in this one, based off of what I've seen, believe it or not, that one curvy freaking piece right there, when it blew up, like if somebody clipped it, or you guys would go back and look, I pointed out that that piece was super curved. Like an explosion pushed it out, right? And that's exactly what happened. That indicates that we had a structural failure. Well, we had a huge object collision, a huge Kraken strike right here. What happens when you have a RUD in KSP? If we break that connection right there, you basically split the ship in half. Basically split it in half. And there are parts that are clipping, right? See these Mark IIIs? Those Mark III parts clip through the fairing because they weren't designed to be detached. It's all supposed to be one piece, right? When that happens, when the ship separates and two parts are clipping into each other like this in Kerbal. Now, don't get me wrong. This isn't a high enough fidelity physics simulation. It mimics an explosion, but it doesn't exactly happen like an explosion. When two parts are like clipping into each other like this, and the hierarchy breaks and they become two separate vehicles, the game basically tries to place them like this really, really fast. It says, oh, those two things are clipping. We got to move them apart from each other. Now, that seems logical, right? It's like, oh, okay, yeah, the two parts are clipping, move them away from each other. How Unity ends up doing that is because it tries to do it so quickly. They're like, okay, move these two parts away from each other at light speed. So parts just get shot out in every direction at a very high rate of speed, which is why the thing blows up, right? It's why it instantly freaking exploded. And something hit this thing going so hard that it actually bent the joint attachment between all these Mark II fuselages. Yeah, something hit it. Parts bend in KSP. There is wear. There is wear on parts, absolutely, in Kerbal. Parts do drift around. Parts do bend. Parts do break. That happens after a lot of uses. The launch pads in KSP, the ones that we got really working really, really well, they bent over time. Even even non-robotic parts still bend. Panels bend all the time. Why? Because there's fatigue. There's fatigue from parts because you put load on them, because you time warped when they were under load and it bent it down into position, right? We know that that happens. That's the principal reason why we have hybrid tech to hold everything in place to make a stronger hinge, right? That's the whole reason why we went about doing that. So there is metal fatigue. There is part fatigue in KSP. Absolutely. It doesn't happen for the same reasons that it happens in real life, but it does happen. And that's documented. I can prove it. So that means something hit this thing enough to actually bend it, but not break the thing. So that tells me, because that part was so freaking bent out of whack, that we had a structural failure in this area right here. So now what I'm going to do, what I want to do is I want to strengthen this area up. We're going to strengthen it up. So what I will do is this. I'm going to see if we can run a pair of struts from there to there. Now, is 2 struts enough to hold this connection and hold the KRPC drives together? Probably not. Probably not. If I had to guess, that's probably not good enough. I wonder what the Iraqi looks like for those pads in the programs. The Iraqi, Alex? What does that mean? I fully understand the lifting issue, but can I ask what would happen if you had a slow burning start till you hit the atmosphere? Also, I know it would burn more fuel, but would it work? What do you mean a slow burning start, Knight? Are we talking about ascent, descent? Surface stuff really likes to bend. It bends under load, Urban. So if you have like a bridge of panels, stop thinking about it like Kerbal and think about it like polybridge. If you have a mass on a bridge of panels, it's gonna simulate the physics. The panels are gonna bend a little bit, right? And then if you time warp or leave the scene, if you time warp, it'll try to snap back into position. But if you leave the scene and those things stay bent like this, when you come back, they're now in that position. That's their new home. And people all, you know, we for the longest time were chasing that and saying like, oh, that's so unrealistic. Parts bend, parts break. That's so stupid. No, that's not stupid. That's how real life works. That absolutely happens in real life. And guess what, Urban? If you just keep time warping and keep time warping and keep time warping, keep leaving the scene, coming back, leaving the scene, coming back, leaving the scene, coming back, and eventually it'll break. Just like a real bridge. You're literally putting something through load cycles. That is absolutely 100% realistic. That's how stuff works in real life. That's how metal works in real life. Which is crazy to me. It's crazy to me that they actually got that right, but they weren't even intending. Like, I know they didn't plan that. There's no way they planned that. But they did get it right, which is cool. The landing legs don't work the same way as real life. But PY, you should probably go test it for us. Go get a coil spring compressor and take a coil spring off your Lada and compress it and see if it accelerates. Did I see your last? No, I was explaining something else. I try not to check chat when I'm explaining something so I don't lose my train of thought, because people seem to like talking about everything but what I'm talking about when I go on these explanations. Craft file analysis tool. Now, in this particular case, there was something relevant. I appreciate that. Thank you. I don't know what that means. What is this? I don't have a lot of, thankfully. Are you okay, yeah, you're more of a Chaika kind of guy. I see how it is. It's very bourgeois, don't you think? I'm just messing with you, man. Yeah, Doom. We made a new drive. This drive right here can move this entire ship. Look at the mass of this sucker. 3,400 tons. It can move it. The problem is that whenever we enter solar orbit with this and we try to use the drive, it explodes. Like, badly explodes. But at first I thought that was just Kerbal not understanding it. But in the past, I've had ships with KRPC drives work in solar orbit, so I know it does work. So that tells me, because we've had ships with drives that work in Helios space, right? That tells me that it's not the drives that are malfunctioning, it's the structural and it's the structure of the ship. Are they in series? they're not stacked on top of each other, Deuce. No. Technically, these engines are in parallel. That one's attached to the fairing. That one's attached to the fairing. That one's attached to the fairing. Reinforce all 5-meter parts. Joints on the 5-meter and 375 fuel tanks are just not strong enough, especially for the acceleration when the drive kicks in. Yeah, Raid, I'm frankly amazed we haven't had that problem. It's probably because I'm slow ramping the drive, if I had to guess. Yeah, that's my guess. So, here's what we'll do, dude. Let me take the entirety of the endurance, right? Yeah, no, yeah, Deuce, there was no way you could tell that by looking at it, dude. I'd have to show you the hierarchy, and that's, once again, why hierarchical design in KSP 1, and hopefully in KSP 2, is so ridiculously important. I'm gonna do something a little weird here, though. Actually, I don't know. I'm wondering if it's wise to attach this to the payload bay doors. Maybe we should attach it to the actual payload bay shape. So, oh, there's a flag in the way. Well, the flag is attached to the fairing, so that's not going to do us any good. Wait a minute. Is that flag actually doing anything? Oh, it's that gap right there. Damn. Alright. Okay, so what happens if we took this flag? Oh, yeah. Okay. We're going to have to attach to the payload bay doors. I mean, that works. We're not going to... It's not like we're animating the doors, but what I'll do instead, fellas, is... We'll do that. We'll do 2. We'll attach to each one. Sorry for long message. Oh, don't worry about it. Conservation of momentum was made up by Newton so that we wouldn't try Kraken drives. The KSP devs are the ones speaking the truth. Yep, it's conspiracy. Are you sure? Did we have the wheel stress visible when the failure happened? Well, I'd argue not to attach to anything but either the keel or the heaviest parts. This is another branch in the hierarchy, so we can use this to carry that structural load from the drives, dude. But, Aqualex, the thing is that no, I didn't have the wheel stress open. However, the way I'm looking at it is like this. And this is kind of a little bit about how I think about this. Okay, look, we just had a catastrophic rut on ascent. We haven't seen that behavior before. And I'm 100% sure that that particular failure was because of structure. Now, that might be the fix for us working the drives in Helio. It's possible. It's possible that that's the fix. It's possible that it's not. It probably isn't. But there's a chance that it could be. And I honestly do not want one of these going RUD on ascent in mission mode when Jeb, Bill, and Val and like 36 other Kerbals are aboard, because we're sending it in one shot. We have to. We're out of time. I wanted to send crews up in like a shuttle or something, and that would be kind of cool, but yeah, we might have to, they might have to be on board when we go. So let's make sure that ascent works good, right? And that problem is something that could happen during ascent, and I do not want it to happen during ascent, right? So could it fix the problem in Helio? Yeah, maybe. Even if it doesn't, it fixes the ascent problems that we could potentially have. That's kind of just how I'm thinking. Yeah, dude, the thing totally rutted on ascent. We hit our dynamic pressure at the front of the ship was 94,000 or 94,000 pascals. 94,000 kilopascals would be ridiculous. We basically hit 1 bar dynamic pressure, which is absurd. That's yeah. And it caused the ship to have a good amount of structural perturbations. So I'm just going to strengthen up the hierarchy here, and we'll, or strengthen up this area, and we'll see where it takes us. We'll launch it again here in a moment. I did add the fuel cells to the ship, so for the people that are watching yesterday, I added the fuel cells. They're actually behind us on this plate right here. Also, I built a CNC router recently. Check DMs when you have some free time or are done with your train of thought. I am slightly excited, to say the least. The OLM is venting for pre-chill. I think we're going to get a static fire today. Jeez. Falcon 9 launches, static fire. Dude, this is nuts. Sounds like you should limit your max Q. Of course. Of course. Yeah, no. Aqualex, I basically throttled the drives up to like, the drives were way past 50%, which is further than I've gone on any ascent with these things. And I had all 4 of the Rhinos and all 8 of the SRBs going like full blast for the good first 30 seconds. I did shut the engines down because I was like, we're going too fast. And yeah, probably about 10 seconds later, the ship started to do this. And the aerodynamic pressure started to bend it, and then it just completely rutted. Did you get the acceleration figured out? Stumbledore, I'm trying to fix it here, but our first test today potentially could have found the failure point. Potentially. So, yeah, just give me a second to strengthen everything up here. I had a RUD on ascent with the Endurance today. Jeb and Bill actually were able to parachute out. The funny thing is that the way this is all set up is that when the game registers the ship basically exploding, these fuselages here, the Mark II lander cans, are clipped into this wing, and it ends up ejecting the entire crew tank forward. Just by sheer chance, because they're it's clipped into the back of that wing right there, so it ends up ejecting the entire mechanism forward. Like, I haven't had one RUD with this thing where the crew didn't survive, which is interesting. Not a safety feature that I really want to count on, per se, but still cool. Is there a clip of the RUD? I don't think anybody clipped it, unfortunately. Shouldn't have said that. Yeah, bad juju do be like that. See. It's not a bug, it's a feature, Urban, right? Like, obviously. I'm not sure if this is gonna strengthen this at all. This is yeah, I mean, it could. It's possible. But yeah, basically, I max queued the ship. That is absolutely a thing that can happen. So yeah, I saw the rates on the ship start to turn in one direction. And the ship started to tilt over. You know what that looks like, dude? Hold on. Let me show you guys. I can think of an example of this actually happening in real life. Was the launch escape system really 3 years? Alright, let's just... Alright, so watch this. Check this out. So there's launch escape, right? This is the Dragon launch escape. So they launched a Dragon. SpaceX launched a Dragon on a second stage that was full of fuel with no engine. The second stage had no engine, and the first stage had no landing legs and no grid fins, right? And they launched this thing, and at maximum dynamic pressure, they did initiate an abort. Now, the crazy thing is that RUD that we just saw in Kerbal was very, very similar to what the second and first stage do once detached. So watch. Right there, it's hard to see on mobile. Right there, Dragon separates. Now watch the second and first stage. They start to tilt because there's no nose cone on the second stage now. There's no nose cone there. So the entire rocket, literally, the dynamic pressure builds up so hard on that second stage that the entire thing starts to bend and tilt in one direction. See it? You can see it kind of drifting a little bit. Now watch what happens when it drifts too far. Right over my head. Boom! Couldn't handle the pressure. That was not a termination. Aerodynamics ripped that thing apart because it couldn't take the pressure anymore. That looked exactly like what just happened to the Endurance. Crazy, right? SpaceX is live? Oh my goodness. Already? Was that expected? Yeah. Dude, hip, and from the pictures that the launch photographers took of the parts of that coming down, the structural failure wasn't actually the second stage. The second stage actually didn't explode. The interstage ripped the top of the first stage LOX dome. Yeah, it ripped it right off. The top bulkhead on the first stage, the interstage, and the dud second stage came down as one piece. It literally ripped, it shredded the LOX tank, a midship, if you will. Crazy, right? Yeah, aerodynamics will do that, man. So it's kind of cool that with this big freaking ship, we just saw the same thing, which is cool. Hey, Fax. All right. Well, speaking of rocket launches, we'll go back to working on our fixing the structural problems with Endurance. And, yeah. Let's watch a SpaceX launch in the meantime. We got a Starlink mission. At those speeds and pressures, it's more hydrodynamics, really. I understand what you're saying. Yeah. Yes and no, Tessa. I mean, you're still dealing with air, right? But, see, you can keep compressing air. The problem is, so, like, you keep compressing air until it becomes plasma, right? But, yeah, what you're saying is, dude, yeah, if you hit water fast enough, it's like hitting concrete, right? Well, if you hit air fast enough, it's like hitting water. All right. You guys up for a real rocket launch? Let's do it. Prepare to fast forward.